What's up, everyone? Welcome back to On the Hunt. We're here in Seth's camp. He was kind enough to let us come around today. We had lunch, a couple drinks. We all had some good conversations, some good stories, and we decided it'd be a good time to talk about some coyote hunting topics, if you will. Not necessarily all tips and tricks, some just things that are good to know. So just gonna kind of go around the table. Obviously, most of you know Brandon if you follow the channel. This is Bobby. Bobby's new to the channel. You guys haven't met Bobby, but he's been around. We good friends. Bobby hunts around the area with us. Tim over here. Taylor. You guys have met Taylor on the channel before briefly. Taylor hunts with us. We go out every now and then when we get an opportunity. This is Seth. Seth and Tim run 207 Outfitters together. They do a lot of guided hunts, some guided services. Real good outfit. You obviously know who I am, Coyote. And so we're going to go over some topics today. Hopefully they help you guys out, and hopefully you learn something from this video. There's a lot of experience and knowledge sitting at this table. So without further ado, we'll go into our first topic, which is kind of why this sport is growing and that it's getting popular not only here but throughout the country. And so we've all kind of got ideas on that, but I guess I'll kick it off. One of my biggest ideas as to why that may be is it's getting more affordable. Some of the gear on the market is definitely coming down in price, and it's a little bit easier to get into the game. Guys like me who have YouTube channels have kind of highlighted the fact that you don't have to spend $5,000-$10,000 on fancy high-end equipment. You can get out there with spend $1,000 and get out there and have success. So kind of go around the table. I don't know if anybody else has ideas.
The COVID thing, I think, changed things too. Got more people outside, more people camping, fishing, hunting, and then coyote hunting falls right in line with that.
Yep. Yeah, COVID's big. That was a big change for a lot of people wanting to be outdoors doing stuff. I think that more and more people are seeing pictures of guys having success out coyote hunting and things like that. I get messages all the time from guys saying, I see you're coyote hunting, what can you tell me about it? They want tips, they want answers. Simple fact is, it's pretty hard to give you guys answers when if you've never done it. All of us have gone out, we've all kind of learned kind of the hard way, a lot of failure. And with failure, eventually comes success, and that's a big part of this game. And I don't know if any of you guys want to share some of your failures, but we got a lot of them.
It'd be a whole nother video right there, just failures of coyote hunting, I think.
Yeah.
Like on the Hunt channel, a lot of these out there.
Yep, there it is.
You sons of bitches!
He called it.
She ruined the sport.
He is right, though. Yeah, continue.
A lot of these other videos on YouTube, Facebook pages, you see all the success. You don't see the time, effort, dry stands, coyotes that come to the wood line that don't come in, the coyotes that sit there and howl at you for an hour, and they just don't break the field.
Yeah.
You got a great idea. I think it's going to slow him down on his videos. He's going to start producing our dry nights.
Dude, oh yeah. That's a good point, and that's a great point. So if I filmed and put a video out of every set we did where we didn't kill coyotes, nobody would watch my damn videos because they'd be like, I'm not going to watch 10 of these before I get one where he killed a coyote. And that's the reality. Yeah. That's just it. The videos make it look easier than it is. Typically, we only post our successes. When I first started the channel, I vividly remember posting hunts that weren't all that exciting. Or maybe I had a fox come in and I made a video out of it. Well, we can't kill fox here in Maine at night, so I didn't kill it. But I made a video out of it anyway because it was interesting and something to put on my channel. Once you get to a certain point, you stop posting things like that and you only post the successes or what people think are successes. And I think it looks easier than it is to some people. They think they buy an electronic call, they go out, set it in a field, and they're going to call coyotes in. And the simple fact is, and we all know this, is that doesn't happen. You're lucky to go out and call a coyote in one of every 8-10 sets. Realistically, you got the good nights where you call a coyote in one of every, you call one in every set. You've had that.
I don't know about every set.
But you've had some nights where you've gone and it's just bang, bang, bang. You feel like you're on fire. Brandon and I had a great night last night. They were active. The coyotes were active. So this game is not easy by any means. I think a lot of people out there that think, well, geez, I could do that. Yes, you could do that. But it takes so much more than just going out a couple times and killing a coyote, calling a coyote and killing it. You might get lucky, but that's a good point.
I think you can probably compare it to main deer hunting too. If you sat there and videotaped every time you were in the stand deer hunting, every walk you did on the snow trying to track a big buck, you're going to have a lot of hours in film until you see that buck you've been after all season.
And coyote hunting here is not like it is out west. We've talked about this a lot too. You got these guys that are killing 100 plus coyotes a year. It's not really happening here.
Not here.
That's a couple things that people need to realize that want to hunt in this state anyway, is that we just don't have the population like they do out west, and that's the reality of it, is we just don't. So success rate is low, and people got to realize that if they want to get into this sport.
Maine's always had a bait hunt. Like everyone's always bait hunting.
Yeah.
Night calling is relatively new, like you said in the beginning. But everybody's got a bait up somewhere during the coyote season. But this is a new aspect to it. There's so many people getting into it. They may go out the first time and kill a coyote their first stand.
Right. Then they're hooked.
They're like, this is easy.
Then they're hooked.
This is totally easy, and then never don't see another coyote the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens.
That does happen because there is an aspect of luck. You could get to a spot and there could be a coyote right in the tree line. You never knew, and you hit your call, and there it is. So there's definitely some truth to that. Actually, baiting versus calling I get a lot of questions about that. Do any of you that call now still actively bait? I know you do.
I do behind my house.
I do too.
And that's good because that's just controlling it right near your home, which is what a lot of people like to do. You still bait?
Yep.
You kill off your bait much, or?
I did a couple last year.
Okay. So I used to bait. I started with baiting, and I couldn't give two shits to bait anymore.
I can't stand sitting on a block for hours.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
I like shooting out the bathroom window.
Yeah, you get a little buzzer and it wakes you up and you go grab your rifle and take a shot. That I think is more and more getting more popular as far as the baiting goes. But like when I started, I sat in the shack, froze my ass off to maybe see a coyote that night. Maybe it hit the bait, or more than likely it hit the bait, but whether or not I was there during that window
Or awake.
Correct. So I got tired of baiting. It got super boring for me. I think that might be also happening to some people. They might be saying, geez, I'm tired of this baiting thing. I'm seeing these guys killing coyotes with calls, and it's interesting, right? Like, I think most people find it interesting. Which kind of is going to lead me into the next topic, which is call sequencing. Who here has never been asked about call sequencing?
Yeah, I think we all have.
Crickets. So everyone wants to know what's a call sequence that's going to work this time of year. During whatever time of year it is. Whether it's early season or, early to mid, which would be like your breeding, for us anyway. And then, later season when the coyotes are starting to pop out and you've got, pups out there running around in the summer. Different sounds work during different times. I think we probably all agree with that.
I think they all work at all times of years. Just sometimes they work better than others.
Yeah, obvious. Yeah, I think you're right. Coyote vocals are big. I think a lot of guys don't understand the power of coyote vocals.
Well, understanding the power, but also understanding if you're hearing a pack of dogs sounding off to you, what they're saying, and being able to answer back to what they want to hear.
Right.
They're two different things.
Definitely. If you got a pack that you got a coyote that just gives you like an invite howl and you answer it with like a aggressive challenge or something, and
Right.
you that's not what it was anticipating to hear back. You may have blown it.
And every stand in every location is different.
Mm-hmm. Every coyote.
Just because it's breeding season doesn't mean breeding sounds are going to work.
Correct.
You can run through your entire playlist and nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
What
You
was
know
it?
they're there. They just won't.
There's certain
Yeah.
nights they just don't want to.
Yep.
I had called in 2 coyotes one night. They were running all around in front of me. Wouldn't give me the time of day, but they were there. Nothing I played to them they liked. I eventually pulled a diaphragm out, howled at them. They came in on a string. So sometimes it's just piquing their interest a little bit. I think.
Hitting those triggers.
Yep. So the answer to most people's question, which everyone wants to know, which is like, what's the best call sequences? There's really no right or wrong answer to that, and I hate to say that because everyone thinks there's some magic thing we're doing, and there isn't. You know.
Well, for example, Friday night, you and I are out together, and not often, we probably don't run the same exact calls in the same exact sequence. And when we have dogs hollering back to us, nothing's working. We're both looking at each other, and go, "What's next?
Right. Where do we go?
What do you want? What should we run? I don't know. What do you want to run?
Yep.
How about this? How about that? I don't know. Let's just try it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because if you don't have anything to go on, they didn't answer you back. What do they want? Are they hungry? Are they mating? Are they
Right.
Curious.
aggressive?
Fight,
Do they
right?
want to fight? Are they mad that there's other coyotes in the area?
Yeah, they paired up. Does that male have a female with him, or does that a female that has a male with her?
Yeah.
And
those are all scenarios that exist that even when us who have been doing this a while are out hunting don't know the answers to.
Mhm.
We simply don't. So there's no good answer to what's the best call sequence, this and that. There's certainly some things that you can do that will, heighten your odds of, getting a response. I think we can all agree that, sometimes starting your set with, a lone howl or an invitational howl, yeah, that's probably not going to hurt. And more often than not, you may get a response. And from there, you can build your set. Or, maybe you get somewhere and you thought you saw some heat and you throw out some prey distress and pulls them right in. Those sets exist, but they're far and few between where you get there and you got them,
Trial and error.
It is. It all is. So I guess kind of the point I'm trying to hit here is like, for as much as I'd love to tell people this is your end all be all, play these sounds and you'll be successful, doesn't exist. And you learn, for me, I've learned like things I've had success on. Is that pretty fair to say?
Absolutely. Yep.
And you have those things that you kind of remember, you kind of put a feather in your cap and
Yeah, I will, when I have luck during the night, I'm going to try to mimic that going forward.
Right.
And
because it worked.
yeah,
Try it
work
again.
at one set, and it's probably going to work at the next one.
Yeah.
Tonight. May not.
On any given night, right?
That's what I do. Yeah.
On that same line, I remember my failures long over mine.
Yeah.
What didn't work?
Yeah.
And what what made them run the total opposite
Right.
direction? You know,
And
why
that
did they
makes you
run?
say, I'm never doing that again.
Right? Why did they do that? And
Right.
why did they react to that sound, or why did they react to what I did?
Yeah.
You
They're
know?
300 yards out, and they're coming on a string, and
Right.
you shut the call off, and then they stop and they leave.
Yeah, and they leave, and you're like, what? Why did that
Why-
happen?
why,
You know? Yep.
And sometimes you never know you don't know the answer to that, but it may change your behavior as to what you do next time. I get a lot of people ask me like, why did you shoot then? Like, they only see a portion of the video and it's hard for them to understand what actually happened at that set. And I think, oftentimes we make decisions when we're out there as to like, at what point are we going to stop them? You know what I mean? So, like, if you were going to stop a coyote, what would be the ideal situation?
Nice and close.
So you got a coyote that's 300 out, it's coming in pretty actively, pretty quickly, it's committed to the call. At what point do you decide, I'm going to stop that coyote?
I'm gonna get them as close as I possibly can, and unless I see something in the coyote that gets like the hinky. So if they
Describe that.
Well, it's hard to describe. It's all in their body mannerisms.
Movements.
Yeah, but they just stop and
They're looking.
start creeping a little bit, and they're looking around. Obviously I'm gonna call it there, but otherwise I'm gonna let them keep coming. I like a nice close shot.
Yeah. Give yourself the best opportunity
Yeah,
for
exactly.
success.
Those three we had come in that night on us, that thing died from meter away from the call.
Yeah.
It was
Wow.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can all agree. Stop them. 25, 30 yards
Yes.
from the call. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty popular on
Yeah.
social media right now to shoot the call though.
Yes.
Only the Fox Pros, though.
Yeah, the Fox Pros are
It's
crazy.
so realistic.
Yeah. What's up with that? Yeah, so that's big. Getting coyotes to stop. Is there a sound you guys think? Do you guys think it matters at all what you do to get them to stop? I hear people yelling at them. I hear people barking at them. I hear
I've seen people blow those
whistles.
bike horns.
Yeah,
and shit, you know?
yeah. It's like I think just something to stop them, make them think. This is a good question, and I think we don't necessarily execute it well all the time. Is you have more time than you realize once you stop them.
Right.
You do?
It's a freaking NASCAR.
1, 2, 3.
One.
Both these guys.
So for Brandon and I, we have a countdown. It's like typically, we
Half a
talk.
second.
Are you ready? Are you ready? He'll be like, yeah. And then it's like 1, 2, bang. And so three is when we on 3 would be when we pull the trigger. Doesn't always work out perfectly, is what it is. Brandon doesn't let me forget.
It's 1, 2, bang. Like, 1, 2, bang.
So there's
That's
definitely
if
a
you
cadence. There's a cadence to it, but what I was gonna say is like once those coyotes stop, you've got quite a bit of time, like much more than you realize. And typically, they're not running off.
You can stop them again.
Right? They'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've definitely experienced that,
Yep.
but you've got more time. I'm guilty of
We all are.
not
Oh, you two are.
not realizing how much time. I dare
was
say
right
you've got 3, 4, 5
So-
seconds before they're gonna continue on and
When we called that the double in the other night, and you were counting down, yours was stopped, but the back coyote was still moving. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it does.
That's hard.
It gets
Yeah,
dicey,
yeah.
right? I mean, you got
And
2
if I was
coyotes
closer
coming
to you,
in.
I would have held you up, but he was ready, so I was like, well,
Yeah.
he's gonna kill it anyway, so
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
So I like to wolf at them, just like a wolf sound howl.
Can you demonstrate?
Whoop!
Nice.
Whoop!
Brandon?
What?
Brandon does it more than me.
What? Stop him?
He does the same sound though. I have to say I copied his sound.
Yeah.
I found that
You-
they're
you
going to
nailed
stop
it.
on their own. at
I
some
got
point.
it.
Yeah.
They're going to stop on their own.
So,
Typically, they're going to stop. So I part of it is I don't remember to do it, and I just let them stop on their own. I can't think of when I've ever barked at one or ever howled.
Really?
I like to do it because it holds them up longer.
Yep, and it will.
Yeah.
I just don't think to do it.
Yeah.
I usually am worried about getting the shot, and Seth's done it while I've been with him, and I just don't think to do it. They're going to pause for a second.
Yep. Are you alone typically though when you're doing that, or?
It depends.
Yep.
In both ways. But they're going to pause at some point unless they're dead set on running into that call, they're going to pause at some point.
Yep.
And if you're on them and you've got that split second,
Just pull the trigger.
take full trigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't work all the time, but
We were talking last night about how the countdown can affect
Either person.
both people or one
Oh, yeah.
person, and if it affects both, and then you end up both missing, I mean, you're screwed. So we were talking about maybe just like a rotation of who takes that first shot, because we're kind of tired of the runners, which maybe are more than likely a result of poor shot placement. So they are a result of poor shot placement. So to prevent that, if we just let one person get nestled in on that coyote where they should be aiming and pull the trigger, they're probably going to hit it where they're aiming because they're not counting, they're not stressed, they're not worried that, geez, if I pull the trigger before my partner, he's going to be pissed at me.
Right.
One dead coyote is.
You don't worry about that though.
I don't give a shit what you think.
also
It's
along
coming.
that same line too is when you hunt, you guys hunt together a lot. Seth and I hunt together a lot. When you have somebody that you hunt with a lot, you can work on your cadence. You can work on your this is what we're going to do. You're going to call the cadence. You're going to call and if you're not ready, you're not ready. Like the double Seth and I got the other night, he was calling the cadence and mine was getting too close, and I was messing with my scope too. And he was getting to the point where he was like, I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm on it. And then he did the countdown, we shot.
Right.
But you've got to, your partner, and that just goes to who you're hunting with. You get new people in there where they haven't been before, or somebody that has been hunting. Like if I went hunting with you guys, I don't know your cadence.
Right,
I don't
you'd
know
say,
what
hey,
your-
what's your
Yeah,
count?
Right.
actually, theirs is backwards from
Right,
ours.
ours is Seth and I is 3-2-1.
Yep.
You know, and that's just from us being
Right.
working together. And other people will be, 1-2-3, or you shoot on 3. You shoot on on that 1-2-3. When do you shoot on the 3-2-1? When do you shoot?
Right.
Is it you pull the trigger on one, or you pull it? It goes to working with
that person,
with
yeah.
that person. And,
Yeah, and you definitely develop that relationship
Yeah.
as to what's going to go down. And then after you pull the trigger the first time, they start running. Sometimes it goes all to hell. Sometimes
Let her rip, buddy.
sometimes they stop and look back, give you another opportunity, and it doesn't have to get crazy, Wild Wild West style. But last night I was wishing I had a 30-round magazine in my rifle. I can tell you that. But
That was one good thing about running night vision. As you're shooting, you can see your rounds hitting like 10 feet behind a coyote when you're reviewing.
yeah.
You're gonna lead them more.
Yeah, it's funny. I've been seeing my impacts good in my thermal
this
scope
picks them
lately,
up well.
and I can tell like, oh, well, way behind, but that could just be the frozen ground just blasting and stuff. But
I know Tanner and I, we have, if there's a solo that comes in, whoever shot the last one is gonna hit the follow-up shot, if needed.
so you take turns.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, the opening night, we had 6 dogs coming in, and I had the best advantage on that first one that came closest because it was in the taller stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, I communicated to him, hey, I'm gonna have to shoot this thing. He's gonna bust us. I mean, it was 75 yards.
Yeah.
But he was staring at us, and he had nowhere else to go. It was barbed wire and swampland.
So did his mannerisms make you think he was
Yeah, it was all body language.
Yeah.
I mean, like Seth hit on,
body language?
there's no right answer, but you subconsciously know, like,
gonna leave.
something's wrong with this, with this dog, whatever's going
Yeah,
on.
I frequently hear you say, they're gonna go, and they pretty much do right about when you're about to say they're leaving.
Anybody that owns dogs recognizes dog body
Yep.
language.
Yeah.
And it translates right into coyotes. So it's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the same psychology. I mean, your dog that, your house dog, if they don't like something, they're gonna kind of back up from it, right? I mean, it's just dumb it down. It's gonna be the same exact behavior to a point.
Yeah.
And if that dog smells something he doesn't like, he's gonna become investigative over it, and and he's gonna want to know. Same with that whoop or woof or whatever you want to do. That's gonna change their mindset to
What is that?
and that's where you get that taller posture.
Ears
kinda
perking.
The ears are forward, they're
Yeah.
kind of scanning the area. That's what gives you that extra time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to figure that out.
100%.
The other night we had coyotes work the opposite side of the field that they could have got our wind from, and Brandon started lip squeaking at him, and the one coyote picks its nose up and it's trying for all it can to get that scent, and it can't. And I think that's ultimately why they wouldn't come into the field. They stayed on the edge. So reading that, is everything. It plays into the complete success that you may or may not have.
Very odd. Two of them went to the upwind side.
That is very three.
All
Three.
three of them did, but 2 of them left without giving us a shot.
Yeah. And then last night we had 2 coyotes come directly downwind of us and commit.
Yeah.
So they didn't get our wind, obviously, because they committed.
Well, you
but-
guys smelled good.
yeah.
I was curious.
They
about
weren't far.
that lead one that you didn't believe there was a coyote there. I was curious that he had our wind at that point and was getting ready to get out of Dodge. He's held up.
It's possible.
I'm surprised.
The
he
one
was
that you
gonna
said
go.
I could take him right now. Yeah.
But that's another good point for newer guys getting into it. I mean, you'll think you'll have something figured out, and then all of a sudden you go out and it totally throws that to the wind.
Yeah.
And something completely different happens.
Yeah, it makes you scratch your head.
Makes you question everything.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, what the heck just happened there?
Yeah. Well, actually, that same property that we got the double on not too long ago, last year, or last season, I was in there, and I whooped at it 3 times. Couldn't get it to stop. I ended up having to holler, "Hey!" At it. And that's
So I had to
finally-
hear something different. Yeah.
Yep, and then
Something
it died
peaked.
right next to the call.
Right on top of the call.
Yep.
Next topic. Talk a little bit about land, kind of etiquette, respect, I guess. There's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of time and effort put into all the guys that Kyle hunt and new guys that want to get into it as well. But one commonality that we all share here is we all have a respect for one another and our properties that we've worked hard to obtain permission at. And anyone, Taylor, you want to touch on kind of like how to go about, better ways to go about, obtaining properties, or if you know a guy hunts a property, what,
I mean, I think, it comes down to like, if Seth and I had, the same area, whatever it is, and we both might have permission for one spot, which is great, but communication goes a long way. I mean, Seth's a, good coyote hunter. I don't want to go into a field he just whacked 3 coyotes out of and waste 30 minutes of my night, right? And I'm glad he killed them. No big deal. But hey, I'm gonna, I just killed 3 out of this field, whatever it is. But that conversation isn't gonna come easy to somebody you don't know either.
Right.
So making those relationships with people is huge.
There's a way to make those.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you and I hunted, the same fields before we knew each other.
I didn't know you hunted them. You didn't know I hunted them.
And now it's, anybody, I don't care about sharing the permission. It's not my land. I'm not going to tell you, not to hunt there. However, conversation between the hunters themselves
goes a long way.
It's going to go a long ways, and your success rate is going to go way higher because you're not burning that time. If Cody's hitting this farm, I'm going to go hit this farm and probably have a lot more successful night because,
not calling the same place.
Not calling the same
back
place
to back.
An hour of each other. Or, it's one thing if you go and have a dry stand and I go in an hour later and have a hot stand because you already, primed them up for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you go in, if, say Seth and I are going in after you and Brady and just whack 3 out of that field, chances are we're probably not going to whack another couple more, So that's the biggest thing I think that people kind of get construed a little bit is
the communication part of it.
Yeah, and it's not because we don't want coyotes to get killed.
Right.
It's
because
we're
all doing it.
We want that to happen, but we're also not going to go waste a night when we could be home with the family or whatnot. But that little bit of communication can go a long ways. It's very simple. It's not it doesn't have to be a pissing contest.
No.
It doesn't have to be, hey, I'm better than you. It's not like that at all.
Yep.
It's purely on the foundation of, I don't want to waste time.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is a bit of a respect thing there too. I mean, it's, you get to a spot or you're at a spot, you mentioned this, you drive down in, you seen a truck that was hunting a field over, not far from where you could have just set up and hunted, but you're probably thinking, if I hunt here, it's pointless. So why would it be pointless?
Not only that, I wouldn't want somebody doing it to me.
Right.
I
So it's a
wouldn't
respect thing.
Yeah.
It goes back to respect. I think a lot of these things go back to respect. And so, if you know a guy's hunting a certain area, just talk to him. Say, hey, I know you hunt here. I have permission as well. Do you want to hunt it together when we decide we're going to hunt it? Do you want to... That's what you and I did, kind of. It was like, hey, do we want to hunt this together and maximize our success rate? I think that's big, And the other thing is, we all have our own core properties that we hunt. It's nice when you have a group like this because you can hunt with each other and keep your spots good, keep their spots good, but have success all along the way and not burn up your spots, and that's huge. I mean, this being able to message any one of you guys and be like, you want to hunt, and Brandon has his spots, I have mine, Seth has his, we all do. And being able to kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, just
you can take anybody
a back
here.
seat with somebody and say, hey, I'll hunt with you tonight,
Right, and you don't have to worry about next time you go there seeing boot tracks.
Right. There's another thing, if someone takes you to their spot, they hadn't better catch you there a week later
without them.
Correct. That was their spot. They brought you there to hunt with them.
I think it's fair to say that this sport is popular enough now that if you see a spot that looks good, somebody else is already there hunting it.
Chances are. And the best way to find that out is ask the landowner.
Mm-hmm.
You just talk to the landowner. Hey, does anyone coyote hunt this at night?
I'd be the devil's advocate on that one because a lot of times, like the farmers, you know, dealing with one in a town that I hunt, and another guy came along and said, "Hey, do you mind if I hunt here?" Well, he talked to the son of the guy that I talked to.
So they weren't on the same page.
Right, and they don't care.
Right. They want dead coyotes.
They want dead coyotes, and they, in their mind, they figure the more coyote hunters, the better.
So that's a good point. That brings up an educational piece to landowners. You know, landowners should probably understand that, hey, the more people you allow in here to hunt coyotes, the less coyotes you probably have killed.
Well, the more people you let in without communication between
Correct.
the parties, because I guarantee any of us here can get 2 properties that we all hunt or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If we communicate, we can still kill dogs out of that. But if there's no communication, it's going to be way lower.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know you've run into some issues trying to share properties. I mean, it's not fun to pull into a spot and have someone there that you weren't expecting, you know, and it doesn't make it easy to have that happen. I mean,
You know, the hard part is it's not your property.
correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're working off somebody else's
Yeah,
property.
and so at that point, it's time to either build a relationship or say, "Well, I guess I'm out," or
fish or cut bait, right?
right. I mean, what do? You know.
Well, like I said, in my opinion, I think that's that's the proper time to build that relationship. And if one of the other party isn't willing to build a relationship, then it's just not going to fucking work out.
Mhm.
And it is what it
Yeah,
is.
move along.
But
Plenty of other places.
But if you work together, you're going to be more successful. And the farmers, the landowners, whoever it is, are going to be way more happier because of the dogs that are getting killed. And not everybody's going out there and having dry sets because they're,
Yeah.
hammering the same spot every night.
It's also safer.
It's
Yeah.
way safer. That's a
That's
whole
huge.
yes.
That's huge.
Let's
Talk
get right
about
to
that,
safety.
Tim.
If you start getting the people that are going in there and you don't know that the other person's hunting, these farms aren't millions of acres. They're big enough. Some of them are pretty big, but a lot of them are. If there's multiple ways into these farms and you go to one way and somebody else is on another one, you don't know they're there. Not everyone's using thermals. Night vision's still really popular. And
Some
you
people
can't-
use ATMs.
some
That's scary.
ATM thermals. Their night vision's alright.
But you're not gonna be able to tell if that's a human or you just see an image, and
Yeah.
that can have deadly consequences. It happened. Where was it? Ohio? It happened in or something.
Yeah.
It happened last season.
Yeah, it can happen quick.
Yeah.
and that's something you can't take back.
No, it's unforgiving, and it's like there's a level of trust with it too. It's like you go hunting with a fella, and you gotta have a level of trust because you're running rifles in the dark, and I mean you gotta know the deal. And I'd be very leery to take someone out. I've been asked a lot by a lot of people, "Oh, can you take me coyote hunting? Can you take me coyote hunting?" And I go back to the safety aspect of it a lot in my mind of like, well, if I take this guy coyote hunting, has he ever run an AR before? Does he have basic knowledge of firearm safety? There's a lot to it. There's a lot of variables, and there's things that I don't necessarily know the answer to. From a guide's perspective, I'm sure that weighs on you guys a lot. Like, okay, what we need to be mindful of this because we're guiding these guys, and what is their level of competence? And there's a huge aspect of that when it comes to night hunting.
Nighttime, daytime, you can see what's going on.
Yeah, you can see where their hands are. You can see what they're doing.
Triggers, everything.
Right.
Nighttime, totally different.
Right. You're
And
fumbling
we're not out there
around.
with flashlights.
That's
We're not
right.
looking at what they're doing. We're watching, trying to watch for the coyotes. We're trying to watch for whatever, but we're also trying to watch them.
Yeah.
And see what's going on with them too. And it's hard if you've got other people hunting that same area. You don't know.
Yeah. I mean that's huge. Safety. Was it something about safety you want to talk about?
I was just gonna say that new guys getting in and buying equipment, that just because that $1,000 thermal is affordable doesn't make it probably the right choice until you've had some time.
That's right.
Yeah, night vision and learning the animals' mannerisms at night.
Yeah. I mean, you buy an affordable thermal scope.
It'll work as long as you're going with somebody that has
Yeah.
something.
You may need, help identifying
Yeah.
the
Well,
target.
you need to know what you're shooting at.
That's right.
Whether it's daytime, nighttime,
Correct.
or whatever.
No
you
matter
need to
what.
know 100% that is a coyote I'm shooting at.
Yes.
We have laws. You can't shoot. You can't shoot foxes or bobcats at night in Maine.
Right.
So you need to know what a fox looks like at night. You need to know what a bobcat looks like
Yeah.
at night.
And I can
You're
tell you,
gonna see them.
Yeah, and I can tell you, we've called him numerous fox.
Mhm.
And there's been times we've been like, is it a coyote? Is it a fox? And it can take a while to looking at that animal to say, yeah, that's a fox. You know,
There was one night you wanted to squeeze the trigger.
I did.
I said, go ahead.
I
we're gonna
did.
Walk up
I
to
was
the fox.
convinced. I was convinced it was a coyote,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, I'm gonna shoot it. That's a coyote. And he's like, I'm telling you, it's a fox. You had a little bit higher magnification base mag on your scope, like a 4 or 4.5.
Yeah.
And I was running a 3, which should be, I mean, that's plenty. But I mean, I was convinced this thing was a coyote, and
It was, to be fair, it was face on,
It was.
sitting down, but
Yeah, and finally, when it turned broadside and kind of run away, I'm like, yeah, Brandon was right.
Yeah.
And we called that thing back in 2-3 times. And that's a dead tail sign it's a
Oh, yeah.
fox. And the fox will come in multiple times pretty easily to a call. But yeah, definitely know your target. That's huge.
Well, to add on to the like target identification, I mean, how many of us are set up in the field and there's 15 deer that don't blink or flinch or care about your call? I mean, I've shot coyotes in fields and the deer just kind of looked over
Yeah.
and went back to eating the grass, you know. So I mean, with the night vision, I know when I was 15, 16 years old, got my first setup. You scan a field, you see eyes, like that has to be a coyote, right?
Yeah, I'm coyote hunting. It must be a
Yeah,
coyote.
I'm running coyote calls.
Right.
You know, that has to be a coyote.
Yeah.
And you look further into it, and it's obviously
just a
not a
deer.
coyote.
Yeah.
It's just a deer. That could be, detrimental to
Yeah.
your career
It's
with
big,
your
big deal.
There's a lot of videos out there. I would just recommend watching them, studying.
Yeah, get
how a
obsessed
fox
with it.
versus a coyote moves.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the little things in those videos, not just, oh, this guy just waylays to 3 coyotes. But watch how that coyote moves coming in.
Yeah.
Watch how that fox
Oh,
moves
it's huge.
coming in.
Yeah, and on that same vein is domestic animals, domestic cats, domestic dogs, things like that. They don't look the same. If you've seen them enough through night vision, through thermals, they don't look the same.
No, they don't.
But if you haven't, they look very similar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like Bobby said though, watch videos. There's so many videos of thermal coyote kills or footage. If you get obsessed with that and you just watch it, now you just know what it looks like. Because watching the footage is basically like looking through your thermal optic. Same idea. So now you've just educated yourself by watching other people. You're probably pretty good to go. I mean, people ask, like, should I start with night vision or thermal? And I mean, I'm a big proponent of starting with night vision because I think you can learn a lot.
Night vision with a thermal monocular.
Yeah, huge.
I would agree,
Yes.
100%.
Great
gives
way
you
to
gives
start.
you both. Gives you can try to identify with your monocular if you can. If you got one that's clear enough and you can see far enough, but at least you're looking at heat. You're getting that, and then the night vision you get 100% positive ID, and that's huge. But yeah, that's a monocular. Guy actually messaged me 2-3 days ago on my Facebook page and was like, "Hey, I don't spend all outdoors. Can I get away with a Rix T20 night vision scope with like a Coyote Cannon, Sniper Hog Legs Coyote Cannon, and a Taipan, an AGM Taipan thermal monocular?" And I said, "Yeah, 100%. You can get away with that. I mean that."
Yeah,
That's a
you
bang
don't
up.
need to spend $1 million.
That's a bang up setup,
Yeah.
really. I mean, now will the guy running 100% thermal possibly acquire his target quicker? Yeah, I mean thermal is typically quicker.
When I was running night vision, Seth and I went out one time. He was running all thermal at the time. So I had night vision scope, thermal handheld. And we called in 2 coyotes, see them perfect with the handheld. When it's night vision,
Couldn't see
at all.
him?
He could see him the whole way in.
Wow.
And I said, we were in a clear cut, and it was just enough brush that you couldn't see him.
Yep.
Pull up the handheld.
There
no
they
problem.
were.
Pull up the night vision. Nope. So he's getting mad at me. 'Cause I can't see him.
Can't see him.
Can't see him. I can't see him. He's like,
Gotta
I'm
be
going to
quicker.
shoot him. I'm like, then shoot him.
Yeah.
So we shot both of them.
Yep.
And there we are. And I said, I'm never using
Yeah,
it.
that was the day
Yeah,
Tim,
that was the day I
Tim
switched.
graduated.
I didn't laugh
That
at it.
happened to me.
He did. He laughed about it. Yeah.
I love my night vision and thermal monocular setup, but same exact thing. I had a coyote 60, 70 yards away in some swale grass. I could see him perfect with my monocular. I'm sitting there going back and forth to the gun. I just couldn't pick him up.
Yep.
And that pissed me off pretty bad.
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes there's like a wicked backwash from your IR reflecting on hay or grass or any objects in front of you that you can't see good enough beyond it. And like with the
Slash.
That's what it is.
yeah,
That's what it is.
slash with the thermal, it just cuts through. It doesn't care. So yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to both for sure. But I'm a big proponent of starting with like a night vision scope, thermal monocular kind of setup, And
That's pretty ideal.
yeah, and then figure out how much you like it. If you love doing it and you're enjoying it and you want to up your game, sell your night vision scope and light and buy a thermal. That's how I would recommend everybody start, in my
I think
opinion.
we probably all started on night vision.
Yeah,
The good thing about night vision, you can identify between a fox and a coyote pretty
easily.
Oh yeah.
You can see the blacks of the legs, the tail. It's 100% easier than with thermal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll sit there and take a minute or two. Well, is that a fox? Is that a coyote? And if there's any questions, I don't pull the trigger. But usually it takes me 30 seconds or so. And then
With a thermal.
once you realize the stuff to look for, I mean, besides just the size, the tail, the way they run, the way they bounce around the field.
Yeah, how low
it's
their
really different.
midsection is to the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some pretty telltale signs of the difference between a fox and a coyote. But
But it takes time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of touched on gear a little bit because everybody wants to know about gear. I mean, like, can you get into this for cheap? Yeah, definitely you can. Especially like night vision now. Digital night vision's come a long way as far as quality and affordability. It's like, I mean, everybody ought to own a night vision scope, really. But
Whoa.
yeah, never mind. Don't buy a night vision scope. Yeah, and then as far as like other gear, everybody's got their favorite gear. That's everyone's.
Yeah.
Everyone's got slightly different stuff, different tripod, different this. I don't really want to get into that so much as like get what you can and use it, you know. And if you don't like it, upgrade. There's some great options on the market. Brandon and I have run like we started. Probably all of us started like a bog tripod.
Oh, hey.
I still run
hey,
bog.
hey.
I'm talking like the Death Grip,
The
Yeah.
original.
not the what is it? Infinity.
Infinite.
Infinite. Yeah.
So yeah, well, I mean, as far as like gear, get what you can afford.
Right. That's what I mean. Just get out.
You
there.
can still. I mean, people were killing coyotes with a spotlight and a red lens and offhand shooting them. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to be
Yeah.
SEAL Team 6 out there in the field
Right.
and have every.
Squilting stuff.
Now,
Right,
yeah,
right.
Now, will the better gear up your success rate? And I say yes.
To a
Some of
point.
them.
To a point.
I think there's some gear that's 100% will up your success rate. I know for a fact I missed more coyotes on a less stable tripod. Not necessarily the Death Grip, because I think that's a stable tripod. Just lacks in a few little
Doesn't have the
features,
articulation.
right? But it's very stable and solid as a rock. But now with like a really high end, really stable platform, it's night and day. I mean, when you lock down on that, you're making good shots, and I think that makes a huge difference.
Just not last night for us.
Yeah, we hit the coyotes; they just ran away. So certain things I think do lead to success.
Well, yeah.
Thermal binoculars, I
Yeah.
think pretty darn important.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would much
Yeah.
rather a guy buy a thermal binocular and have a digital night vision scope than just say, I'm just buying a
I
thermal
think
scope.
the one thing I would do differently with my gear, I would have put the importance on a suppressor way higher
Yeah.
than anything else I've bought so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now that we're running something.
Yeah, so every one of us has a suppressor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seth and I have been running Express since day one, and it when you go with people that don't have them yet, they're in NFA jail or whatever, they just don't have them yet.
Yep.
It's so much different.
Yeah.
It's especially when you're getting a lot of shots, you can hear them a lot further away. You're
Yeah.
disturbing other people.
Less.
Less.
Yeah.
It just your kill ratio is going to go up with them too.
Well, not only kill ratio, but your landowner relations are going to skyrocket because you're not,
Waking somebody up at 1 in
you're
the
not,
morning.
Ripping off 2-3 shots
Yeah.
at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And your hearing.
Yeah.
No, that's my
Yeah.
What?
My
Yeah.
ears ring constantly because of so much.
Yeah. It's
unprotected heat.
it's huge.
Shooting.
Even shooting supersonic, like it is a massive
Yep,
difference.
it's a big difference.
I would agree. Yeah, that's a huge piece of gear.
I think if you put up a video too of you shooting unsuppressed versus suppressed, you can. I mean, it's a little bit of a lesser,
it's hard to tell so much.
but you
like a
can
microphone.
tell in the video
Yeah.
just that little bit of change,
It's
and then in
huge.
person it's massive, massive
the
difference.
beauty of being able to talk to your partner after shooting 5 rounds.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Pretty-
we said the other night.
Yeah,
3 of us were all suppressed, and we all fired
a bunch of
few
shots.
rounds.
Yeah.
And we walked away, and we were still talking
Yeah.
like we are now.
Yeah, we're like, geez, it's nice. We can hear each other.
Right.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay, so that's a lot. We covered quite a lot and rambled a lot, and some good topics and some things for people to think about. Gonna close out with kind of what we're running for rifle, bolt, AR, and caliber, and how you feel about it. Would you change it? Have you changed it? I get a lot of questions about that, and I'm still kind of on the fence about what I'm running, and so we'll just start with Timmy.
All right.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'm running the Remington 700, 16-inch barrel, suppressed 22-250, and I love it.
Loves it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't change it. No. Did you change it? Have you?
I went from an AR, AR platform 223,
Yep.
to a bolt action 223, and then up to the 22.
Yep. So graduated from 223 to 22-250. Did you see a big difference in runners and performance? Yep.
Yep.
Cool. Bobby.
I'm running. I bounce back and forth between a Howa Mini Action in 6.5 Grendel and CBC upper with PSA lower, 6.5 Grendel 18-inch barrel.
Yep. Hand load.
Hand
For
load.
both?
I hand load for the AR 95 grain V Max, and I run 123 grain factory SSTs.
Cool. Which would you prefer for night hunting?
I like my AR, but I tend to waste a lot of ammo too. So.
Easier on the follow-up shots.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Cool. Brandon.
I think they all know we run the 6.5 Grendels, but I guess that might be changing here right off after last night. I've got the Ricks lined up on my uncle's 22-250 that he left me, and we just recently had that barrel cut down, threaded for the suppressor. So
Yep.
it's a
Suppressed.
Savage Model 12 heavy barrel, so it's only at 10 pounds now with
Yep.
a scope on it.
So you haven't killed coyotes with it yet? I know your uncle did.
Yeah, technically, I guess.
Yeah.
I had one just like
Yeah.
it back 20 years ago.
So I'll be
I used
interested to
use-
see how that goes. But before that, running the Grendel.
Yeah.
Yep. On the fence. I've been running 6.5 Grendel from Specialized Dynamics. I had Scott Milkovich. I think that's his last name. I don't know how you say it. I think it's Milkovich. He owns Specialized Dynamics. Builds a good rifle. Had him build me a custom 6.5 Grendel, and loved it. Loved it last season. Had great performance with it. Hand loaded 90 grain Nosler Armageddons with 31 grains of H335 behind it. Had great luck and wouldn't have changed a thing. Added a suppressor this year. Don't think the suppressor had anything to do with it, but now I'm on the fence on it. Having some runners, quite a few runners. I don't know, maybe looking to change something up. Try something pretty interesting in 243, so we'll see. Stay tuned with the channel, you guys. I'll be sure to update you on that one. I'm a big proponent on hand loading, dialing in your round, unless you can find a factory load that your rifle really loves. If you're not, stacking your rounds within half inch of each other, it's probably around. There's a load out there that your rifle would shoot better. Most modern rifles can shoot half inch to 1 inch groups pretty easy at 100 yards. Seth, what are you running?
I run a Sig Cross, and I bought an aftermarket barrel for a 243, which is not a standard for a Sig Cross. It's a bolt gun, and it's 75 grain B Max that I run in there.
Love it.
Love it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Flattens them.
Yep. As you saw, put the brake. Good size hole in them.
What'd you come from?
Oh, I've made the transition like everybody is. 223, and then I went to a 308, and then I went to a 243 AR. And when I went suppressed on that, I had a lot of issues with overpressure.
Yeah.
So I left that behind and transitioned to the bolt gun.
Bolt gun.
I'll never go back.
Sticking with bolt gun.
Yep.
Yep.
100%.
Don't mind that your follow-up shots are less quick.
It's not as quick. I can't just pull the trigger.
Yeah.
But it's pretty damn quick.
Yeah. I noticed you're pretty proficient with it. Taylor.
I run a 223, the Sig M400 upper, lower I built, 55 grain nozzlers.
How long's the barrel on that?
I went 16,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. And I don't really have any issues with it except for the night Seth and I were out. That one, I don't know what happened to that one. But typically the ones I hit, they're dead right there.
Yeah.
Eventually I'm going to make the change. I haven't decided yet. It will be like a 243 or 22-250.
Yeah.
somewhere in there. But for now, I'm happy with it. Easy to get ammo for.
Yeah. I had pretty good luck with my 223. I ran the 55 grain VMAXs, and I had pretty good luck. As long as I shot them in the front shoulder, they blew up pretty good. But the Grendel was a good change from that, and I think I can make a better change from the Grendel.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has their favorite round, and for me, it's convenience.
Yeah,
You know,
there's a lot of convenience with a 223. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Not
a
so
lot.
much in the Grendel.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, hand loading's key. It's
Yeah,
that's
hand
my
loading's
favorite
big.
round, but-
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's pretty awesome. I think that'd be helpful to some people. And if you're new to the channel and you found this video helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps me a ton. And if you have any questions, anything we touched on in the video, feel free to drop that in the comments below. I read all your comments, and if your question's directed at anything anyone said in the video, I'll make sure to get it their way, get an answer for you. So that's pretty much it, you guys. And until next time on The Hunt, we'll see you later.